What's going on, y'all? What's going on? It's been a while, but I wanted to catch up on some things. It's been a while since I've been on here, but I'm gonna catch up on some things that's been circulating, surfing the network lately. Things that been viral, things that's just way out of the fold, way out of the fold, just way out of hand, way out of control. Either one. But I'm gonna go ahead and I want to talk on what had went viral around, I think somewhere around May, that influencer Shay. The influencer Shay. And Shay, she spoke about a video that went very viral on polygamy. Shay had said that polygamy is a rich man sport. Polygamy is a rich man sport. Influencer Shay said that many men lack finances for multiple women. Relationship discourse on social media intensified recently after influencer Shay posted a provocative video arguing that successful polygamous relationship require discipline, consistency, leadership, emotional security, and financial stability, not simply desire. The video caption, men are insecure to polygamy is a rich man sport, quickly generated strong reactions as online viewers debate gender expectations, monogamy, masculinity, and wealth in relationships. In the clip, Shay challenged criticism often directed towards men who pursue polygamy and polygamous relationships. Many argued that critics misunderstand the level of responsibility such arrangement demands. Polygamy is a rich man sport, she said. We're not talking about money here. I'm talking about the discipline, the consistency, whether you are motivated or not to lead this team. Shay argued that relationship structures, whether monogamous or non-monogamous, require emotional maturity and leadership skills. According to her, many men reject polygamy not because it is morally wrong to them, because they lack confidence, the discipline, the financial stability to manage multiple relationships successfully. They don't know how, she said, because y'all used to doing 50-50 financially with a woman throughout the video. Shay presented polygamy as a less romantic fantasy and as more of a demanding lifestyle require structured provision and long-term planning. Shay push pushed back the claims that men are interested in multiple relationships are necessarily emotionally damaged or avoiding commitment. Before you down polygamy and say men have mommy issues, she said these men have the finance to provide for these women to build a legacy and to leave behind an empire. The influencer repeatedly pointed abundance, legacy building, and emotional security as central themes of an argument, while also suggesting that many societal limitations around relationships stem from trauma and conditioned beliefs. Money is not an issue, vibration. She said it is those deep rooted traumas and affirmations y'all put in y'all head. The video triggered thousands of reaction across Instagram, while some users applauding Shay or openly discussing the alternative discussions of relationship, um, relationship dynamics and financial responsibility, while others criticize the comment as promoting patriarchal gender roles or unrealistic expectations. The debate surrounding polygamy and polyamorous have increasingly have become visible on social media platforms, particularly among younger audience discussing non-traditional relationship models, emotional labor, gender expectations, and economic pressures of dating culture. Shea remarks also tap into the broader online conversation about masculinity and provision in relationships, especially amid growing dispute 50-50 about relationships, traditional gender roles, and financial realities in modern family structure. While opinions on her perspective remain sharply divided viral, the discussion highlighted how conversations once considered taboo increasingly becoming mainstream social media discourse. To the clips from the video continue to circulate online, one phrase in particular appears to be driving the debate. Polygamy is a rich man or wealthy man sport. As I'ma say, there's a difference between rich and wealth, being rich and being wealthy. Many men lack finances for multiple women. Okay, but that's just like thing with the Muslims. The Muslim traditional way with polygamy is living by that ancient way of lifestyle Islam. Why is a Muslim man allowed to have more than one wife? All thought in many cultures and religion traditions, all thought in many cultures and traditions, polygamy has been practiced throughout the world. It had been practiced throughout the world in way long before other people started coming about. It was something that was always practiced. It's an ancient form of marriage. And a lot that Shay was saying, I could agree with, because this is now, if you take a good look at that situation with Young Miami and NDIRE, now NDIRE is all the way on the bright right side of it. I could agree everything NDIRE talking about, because that is real with Miami, Young Miami. She pushing out a video clip with a song called Spin That, and it's just another depiction, a photo play of what goes down in urban cities. I'm talking about here on the American mainland here in the U.S., and that's a shining example of how a lot of diseases start spreading. All that, it's like a VD house up in there. It's just a bunch of slanters, and you got a bunch of ghouls. They're like ghouls in there with values, but it is empty on the inside. It's just empty. And and that's another reason of the population now have a high percentage of HIV because of situations like that. Because of situations like that, in Young Miami, she know the ins and outs of what she's doing, because she got it from Diddy. She was hanging with Diddy a lot, and Diddy showed her the ropes. And Diddy got Young Miami, doing a lot for him right now. They talking on the phone and everything while he incarcerated. Yeah, Diddy turn Young Miami out, and that's why she able to bring that type of aura she got to a song called Spin That, and they got, little bitty kids who mind not well acquainted of all that, they gon' contaminate their neurotransmitters even more. It's even more, and that there will let people know situations like that'll make it worse. It just make it worse. You know, and that's why I see it with the Muslims. Why the Muslim man allowed to have more than one wife, or thought is found in many religions and cultures, traditions, polygamy most identified with Islam in the mind of Westerners. However, one does not find polygamy as exclusive to Islam. There was no restriction on Hindu men regarding the number of wives until 1954, when East Indian civil law made it illegal for a non-Muslim to have more than one wife. It continued among the Jewish Sephardic communities until as late as 1950, when the Act of Chief of Rabbinate of Israel declared it unlawful to have more than one wife, and Christian men were originally permitted to take many wives as they went, since the Bible placed no limit on the number. It was only in recent centuries that the church limited the number of wives to one. Unrestricted polygamy has been practiced through human society throughout the world till fairly recent in a world which allowed men to limit the number of wives. It was Islam that limited the number to 4 before alcohol was revealed. There was no upper limit, and many men had scores of wives, some to the hundreds. Islam allows a man to have 2, 3, or 4 wives on the condition he must deal with them all benevolently and fairly, as indicated in Al-Quran and Surah 4 Al-Nisa, translate from Arabic to the English word mean the women. Ayat Dalata translate from Arabic to the English language mean verse 3, but if you feel that ye should not be able to deal justly, then only one. Al-Quran is the only sacred book that says only one. The idea that the compulsion for a Muslim man to have more than one wife is a misconception. Taking additional wife is not encouraged nor prohibited. Polygamy falls into the category of things that are permissible but not obligatory. Taking additional wife is not encouraged nor prohibited. Our Islam has allowed a man to marry more than one wife so he could be provided adequately and treat each one fairly, just as fair treatment, to spend time with each, expected deals, gifts, etc. Love and physical attraction are matters of the heart, usually beyond a man's ability to control. Therefore, those differences are excused, not excused. However, is an obvious display of favor of aversion towards one in particular, or in marital terms of the marital rights, or injustice of the terms of the marital rights, equal treatment, each remain a strict condition. If he feels or even know that he is unable to do so, it's not permissible for him to marry more than one wife. This can honor direct the straighten the position of the family and women for provide legal security for many women who will otherwise remain unmarried. It is a known fact that the female world population is now more than the male population. Immorality rates among male were higher compared to that of females. During war, more men are killed as compared to women. More men die due to accidents and diseases than women. The average lifespan of females is longer than that of males. Thus, in a given time and place, there are shortages of men in comparison to women. And when men are taken out of the marriage market by wars or economic difficulties, it is women who suffer. What are women of honor and self-respect doing such situation? How can they fulfill their natural desire without resorting to fornication, adultery, lesbianism, or other perverted practices? The only option open to unmarried women is to remain deprived of a relationship for the rest of their lives, is to become public property or to marry a married man. Islam prefer giving women the advantage by permitting, facilitating legal marriage and prohibiting irresponsible relationship. The Western insistence on monogamy, marriage with one person at a time, the practice being with a single mate during a period of time. monogamy is essentially false. In their society today, it's not uncommon for a man to have extramarital relations with girlfriend, mistresses, or prostitutes. Seldom are disapproved despite the harm that comes about from it. So divorce rates, broken homes, deadbeat dads, increasing number of children born out of wedlocks, and the spread of sexually transmitted diseases, serious disease as syphilis, gonorrhea, AIDS, genital forms of herpes simplex that's caused by a microorganism or a virus that's usually through contact through direct sexual contact. Sexually transmitted diseases is fueling one of the common consequences, negative consequences of this common practice. Additionally, a woman in a relationship has no legal right. She will be cast aside to fend for herself. She should become property or to marry a married man. Within marriage, a woman has a husband obligated by law to provide for her and her children. There is no doubt that a second wife lawfully married or treated honorably is better than a mistress without any legal right or social respect. Now, any legal right or social respect, Islam has allowed more than one wife to protect women and to protect the society from immorality and uphold the honor and dignity of women. Polygyny, now there's a difference between polygamy and polygyny. Polygamy is a state of condition, having more than one spouse simultaneously. Polygyny is the condition or practice when a biological man has more than one white biological woman as wives at the same time. Polygyny protect the interests of women and children, and also prevent the spread of venereal diseases, a contagious disease as gonorrhea or syphilis, usually acquired having sexual intercourse with someone who already has. Venereal diseases, herpes, any of the several viral diseases, characterized by the formation of blisters showing on the skin or mucous membrane. Herpes, AIDS, or there's a lot more of it. AIDS-related complex, herpes simplex, gonorrhea, social disease, all rampant in promiscuous societies where extramarital affairs abound. After World War II, when suggested to legalize polygamy were rejected by the church in Germany, prostitution was legalized instead. The rate of marriage has been steadily increasing there as the young generation, Gen Z, find marriage increasingly unnecessary and irrelevant. Yet polygamy continues to be banned even though it preserves the honor and chastity of women. In Western society, men prefer to keep polygamy illegal because it absolves them of spend of the maidens of their additional wives and offspring, while status quo allows them to enjoy extramarital affairs without economic consequence. Granted, there's a problem of natural jealousy among wives, yet no one has cited jealousy among siblings as a reason not to have another child. However, they are encouraged to overcome it to the best of their ability on the principle of the best of their ability of liking for others or what one like for oneself. If the first wife finds a situation unbearable, she has the right of requesting divorce. And a married woman is not under obligation to accept the proposal of a man already married. She is free to decide for herself. In some societies, a wife will seek a second wife for her husband, be a companion for herself, and share in some of her responsibilities. Islam takes the society as a whole into consideration, seeking to maximize benefit and reduce harm. As long as there are social certain solutions that lies within certain individuals that lies in social solutions, in the having a second wife, it cannot be prohibited. An additional wife, it cannot be prohibited. Yet, in spite of its legality of most Muslim countries, It is a small minority of Muslims that actually into a second marriage, as most men cannot afford the expense of maintaining more than one family. More than one family. And see, that's why it's a lot that's going on right now. Even early in the year when they had the big disease that broke out around H-Town, Houston, Atlanta, Georgia. That's the, and then in Miami. They the three, they sound like make up the Devil's Triangle. The way they sound, it sound like a Devil's Triangle. The Atlanta, Georgia, Miami, and Houston, Texas. Miami, Florida, Houston, Texas. And you got that young Miami straight from out of Miami with Trick Daddy from it. See, he another big bad influence. Trick Daddy, he another one. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. He would fit in the category with the ones in the Western societies. He's sticking up for young Miami that's promoting July trash. That's promoting trash on top of July trash. On top of July trash. That's another. See, they spell casting on them lyrics. They spell casting on them lyrics, and the people getting to singing those type of lyrics, especially their children. It does something. It's the frequencies in the song. It is boosted up to like a 375 hertz. That's the best hertz they play in Western societies when it comes to music. That goes as far as back around the time with the Rockefellers. And so Trick Daddy, he gonna boost Miami, young Miami up, you know, because he been out there, he been trife living. Trick Daddy, he been trife living before the 2000s, before the 90s. He would fit right in that category with the Western societies, caught up in the monogamy and all the pimping thing, but the pimping thing, the phases of it different from another. It's different from another. Now, that pimping thing, that's like dice at the crap table. That's like dice at the crap table, and they get the standing up, and they get the roll and all that, and they get the crapping, whoever crapping, and then they find themselves right deep down in the mop. You know what I'm saying? The pimp that lost money, the whole, she drugged out the pimp, lost money, and all that stuff though. So, I mean, that devil they're pushing, they getting pushed by devils. They getting pushed by devils when they do that. You know, because it's already those who they getting pushed by, they moving faster and they working faster than them. They doing things they can't do. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Trick Daddy, he be considered the one up in as the come out broken home, so divorce rates, deadbeat dad. Those like that or him trying to be him, deadbeat dad, or the wannabes of deadbeat dad, or whatever the case may be. But that's why in the US, it's a high percentage of those who live in the baby mama, baby daddy culture. A high percentage of that, and that's why they going through what they're going through. And you got them that's out there, they make a child, they make children, and the children born into the world automatically struggling, but all they get out of it is two unclean parents that lack possession. We got that going on. The single parent household, that Young Miami song, all that doing is just giving those who listen to a boost of thrill. It giving those who it got with them a boost of thrill. A boost of thrill. It's called Spin Nate. Spin Nate. Talking about spending that. Well, I tell you what, them numbers been spending out on the HIV case. Them numbers been flipping forward up. It ain't no game neither. It's not a game. It's real world problems in the real world. It's real life situations, real life challenging real life situations. You talking about some unclean male and unclean female sex devils in that video. There's a lot of unclean of men. When they get the whispering in their hearts and get the whispering in their ear, them old nasty devils get behind their ear and then they tongue stretch out and they lick on the right side of their or left side of their mouth. Them devils getting into them. It's them devils doing that. So, and that's why a lot of them like that don't be wife material. Like that in the Young Miami aura, era, character, whatever. They never turn out to be white material. They either the call girl, they the prostitute, they the hoe, you know, they the slanter, the streetwalker, you know, they all that's that. And then that tell them you ain't all that, you ain't cute. That's that telling them back at them. Who you think you is? You think you running in the race, you ain't winning this. You can't outrun this. I've been in these streets before you were born. I've been in the street before those who you look up to were born. I've been here before your parents were born. I've been here before your grandparents were born. I've been here before your great grandparents was here. I was here before your great grandparents was here. And before their parents and their great grandparents, I was here longer. I was here longer and longer and longer. I'm just sticking around. My time ain't up yet. But I know something you don't. I know more about you than you know yourself. I know about that one who bound to your soul from the very beginning. But I ain't knew until it was only the one up above had revealed that divine message to ancient prophets like Musa. Musa was sung with the old message. Musa spoken in the old covenant on the Al Torah. He was sung with the message because the Most High sent Musa with a message to go teach the devil kind, because there was to go teach spirits and a company of spirits and a company of devils too. Now angels ain't falling back with King Suleiman. It is also a lost part in that old covenant where Musa was even told to go speak to spirits and devils, and the difference between the two, they got a spirits created from edge of the flame, either they good or bad. They got human free will just like humans. It's better those type is that they take the righteous path or they take the wrong path. Those the spirits. You got them there's whatever belief they believe in or believe in the same way as you do. You got that branch, and on the branch side of them, they just lost trying to see guidance, or they just lost until they lead to their very end of destruction. Now the devil's different. The devil's gonna be devils. Ain't no doubt about that. Devil's gonna be devils. There was devils from the beginning, they're gonna be devils to the end. They on a whole nother task. And they even heard about the divine word of the Most High being taught to them by his ancient prophet Musa. And he even gave them the full concept of it all when it came to it. So they sat and listened. And but anyway, that's why these unclean male and unclean female devils always in different type of unclean nasty relationships like that with people appraising the Young Miami song. People like Uncle Luke them, he another one. He been in the trench, he been in the slump. You know what I'm saying? He under that Western world. He under that Western world dark energy as well. There's that dark energy. Trick Daddy under Young Miami under it. They all in the club under. And when people don't up their level of consciousness, I'm talking about up the level of consciousness where it reach your understanding. Like this here, okay, it's empty. Okay, you thinking that you gaining greater benefit, but you gaining greater is the wrong you gaining than the benefit. But hey, people gonna be people. People gonna be people. But to tell you the truth, they on a whole nother level on that video. They on a whole nother level on. And that dude Diddy put Miami up out there. Like he had out there on the blade. And he even gave something to it. Young Miami got full-blown AIDS. She got full-blown AIDS. I ain't lying, the video is just, nope. Ain't know what's up with that video. That video ain't nothing to play with. It's just another low degraded video. A shining example of what continues on. Now, NDI made clean songs. NDI made beautiful songs. NDI, she made songs that made sense. She sung with common sense. Young Miami now rapping with sense and all common sense. It's just a bunch of terms being in the slangs and interchangeable sound the same. It's not exciting. It's not exciting. How that could be hype? That ain't hype. That unclean. I'll tell you what, there's a company of them that sit in the position far off where people like Young Miami, Trick Daddy, Uncle Luke, and these other people, they can't see him. They can't see him. But they can see them. But I see why Miami, Florida is deteriorating because of situations like that. And Miami, Florida, shining example. Atlanta, Georgia, shining example. Houston, Texas, shining example. I'm gonna lie, it's all over though. I mean, it's in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Memphis, Tennessee, the Carolinas. I wouldn't be surprised, New York, Los Angeles, California. But I know it's the main three. Sound like it make up the Devil's Triangle. Man, it's like a lot of them can't keep a man. That's just like a lot of men can't keep a woman. Now let's, no matter what, whatever. I mean, people decided to be. They say, okay, a lot of people being single. I can't take that from people. People want to be single. Got people who want to be married, but at the same time, these people who, okay, those who married now, they up in age. You know what I mean? It's another level. Their perspective built different. It ain't like Gen Z. Gen Z won't get out there and they want to circulate the girls, Gen Z girls. Okay, you got them that's trying to dance on side of 45-year-old chicks who been out there longer than them and trying to outdo them. It's the competition up. And it is more than just Trip to Life Fantastic. You know, they won't go out there, they have it swooshing like water and this and that. And you got the 45 chick, chick, she probably don't want that. She just there, she could be dancing by herself. She just by herself dance. But she with her home girl, they just out getting some drinks. She got up the side of, strut up the strut, and she ain't expected that some Gen Z, some 18-year-old girl with high shorts on with some fishnet leggings on, and she got a wig on or some baby lays at the front, lays down around her forehead, and all that makeup on, too much makeup, and come and want to get involved, shaking it and stuff. But one could be married, but they married, believe different. And the other one, she not married. She got some dude she's seeing, but they ain't there together. On the other hand, perhaps not. They both sing. They just like the dudes in there, they both sing or whatever. They probably won't go holler at one of them or whatever. People gonna be people. And that's why when environments like that and the way it is now, people just see that the dating culture just by that long is into shambles every time. It's just crumbling into pieces even more. You know what I'm saying? Get what you could get and you go on by your business. That's just how it is now. You know what I'm saying? You got people with celebrity crushes out here and they got a whole husband or a whole wife and they'll go to a Chris Brown concert. Chick get up there on see Chris Brown. She with her husband or her fiance, her boyfriend, and she got on her man nerve going up there with Chris Brown, dancing on him. He holding her close up to him while she leaning back on his left arm, and he looking down in their face and they eye to eye, and like he about to kiss her with a dip, with a low dip with it. Is that one of those? And that dude Breeze and Usher been on a tour lately. They've been going around, but make a long story short, that's why different nationalities of people, and don't get me wrong, you got those who here on the American mainland, they not a keep their wife, keep their girlfriend, like that, they on concealing. It's only, the concealing them, not, they not out there out and about, he made sure he gotta do what he gotta do, that she in that spot, however, whatever term agreements they done came to, and that's how that's going, and that's how it's supposed to be between them two. That's cemented up, until further notice, but it's a battle, and if it's not that, then it's the opposite from. Not opposites from it, but let's just say, it's just them. And then there's a handful of them that's, they white, and under that, depending on where they at, no matter the individual, it depends on the individual who they sell, who the individual themselves. You know what I'm saying? And like with Al-Islam, why does Islam prohibits a woman from having more than one husband? Some people question the logic allowing a Muslim man to have more than one spouse while denying the same right to women. While almost every society supported the concept of men having more than one wife, seldom has any social order ever supported the concept of a woman being married to two or more men at the same damn time. The foundation of Islamic society is just an equality. The Most High created male and female equal, but not identical in nature. They have innate differences sociologically and psychologically and have different capabilities. Hence, their roles and responsibilities may differ, but they serve to complement one another. Feminists might object the male's right to having more than one wife by insisting that a woman should be also to practice polyandry, marriage to more than one husband. However, the following few points should be considered. As mentioned earlier, one of the benefits of polygamy that it deals with the problem of women outnumbering men. Conversely, polyandry will only add to this problem. If one of the men who are shortage, several of the men shortage and bunches marry one of the women who are in the bunches, was to marry one of the women who are in the bunches. In general, men are more polygamous by nature than women that have greater sexual needs. Islam, the ancient way of life, Islam assign great importance to the recognition of both parents. When a man has more than one wife, the parents of the children are easily to identify, but in any case of a woman having more than one husband, only the children of the mother will be known. How would a child know who his father was without resort to laboratory tests? We accept the mother by identifying the father by some chance of method. All thought recent advanced science have made it possible to identify the father and the mother through genetic testing. For a married woman to require to who the child of the father is, to require the father who the child, if it's his child, to require who the father of the child is, to register him in school and to get medical care seems impractical, to say the least. In addition, psychologists tell us that children who don't know their parents, the father in particular, undergo mental disturbances, traumas, and have often a happy childhood. Biologically, it is not difficult for a man to perform his duties as a husband despite having several wives. But a woman having several husbands would find it very difficult and to perform all her duties to each one of them. Complying to each husband, desire intimacy with her at various times, keeping household for each one, and looking after all the children will be undoubtedly problematic. These issues are obvious with a great bit of reflection. Moreover, it's been medically proven that the main causes of widespread serious diseases, the widespread diseases is women having sexual intercourse with more than one man and the mix of seminal fluids in the wombs. Hence, in Al-Quran, that Muslims be reciting, and reading, and Al-Quran prescribe a waiting period for a woman who is divorced or widowed, so enough time passes for her wounds to clean or any traces of the former husband before she married again. And that's why they are around and it's still around to this very day. Like those who will, some like almost one would say, "Oh, you been here before." Like one talking to a female say, "Oh, you been here before," but not mentioning it like in a bad way, but in a good way. I'm using juxtaposition right now, side by side. I'm trying to keep a balance here, but it depends on the female individual herself to reach that point of level of white material. But that's just like not all males gonna be husband material, not all females gonna be wife material. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna carry on doing the nasty, doing the trashy, doing the funky, the stanky. You know what I'm saying? They turning up the heat, and they gonna find themselves not in a position of nowhere reaching or climbing up to a higher light, a higher level in life, a higher level in life above reaching a point saying, "Oh, I'm better than my old self." It's gonna be the other way around. Is that person saying, "I'm worse than my old self. I'm worse than my old self." It's getting worse and worse. And I'm not gonna lie, you got people that on the polygamy, that's just like with the that Netflix series called Polygamist. That's another one that I haven't seen the whole entire of it, but it's 22 episodes. It's based on Janosa Gamora. He a businessman in Johannesburg, South Africa. I'm not gonna lie. They played their parts. Each and every last one of them, they played their parts. Polygamists ain't nothing to play with. Even though they come from out of the Zulu. It's based on the novel, though. It's really based on the novel that really had offsprings from each polygamist family. I think it's just two of them from a polygamist family, but one of them family wasn't polygamous, but they understood what was going on in that world. In order for to get the whole but token of it, you got to live it. That's no matter how many Secretary of Theories person come with, and having the knowledge is one thing. That's that, but the wisdom is living it. That's how you get all the wisdom, is by really living it, accumulating the nugget of wisdom. But to go in there, I ain't gonna lie, not every biological male could do it. Most men can't afford the expense of maintaining more than one family. I get that. They only afford the family. They have that very one family, or they got them on child support, and that's worse than the child support. That comes from all of the English canon tradition. That's not tradition. The English canon culture, English canon society, and the child support thing that will mentally drain a lot. It mentally drain a lot of men in the U.S. You know what I'm saying? Women been on child support, but not as more than men. Men, especially when it comes to a Black American community, is the high percentage of that. That and the baby mama and the baby daddy cultures. That's the norm for them. That's not tradition. That's culture. Only I can say about Neo and his 3 girlfriends. Neo is a polygamist. He's not on the polygyny and polygamy is different. Polygyny is too primitive. Polygyny is too primitive. Polygyny is primitive, very primitive. And polygyny come from out of Northeast Akibalon. Then you had prophets like Prophet Ibrahim, Prophet Musa, the prophets like Suleiman, Prophet Muhammad practice polygamy. I mean, not polygyny. Polygyny is the primitive form, the more primitive form. In Northeast Akibalon, because they spoken in the desert tongue, indigenous Northeastern Akibalon language, the Arabia language, which is older than an Abba. A lot of the English speakers say in Hebrew, but Hebrew, you go to in Hebrew and them type of speaker face, they're gonna ask you what is Hebrew. They're gonna ask you that, what is that? Because they're gonna look at it like, I don't know what you're talking about. What is that? They familiar with terms like Arabia and Abba. And Neo, he a polygamist, but more in the urban setting. Neo, he indigenous Black American. And 3 wives on the polygamous level. Okay, yeah, that's more on a simultaneous level. I'm not taking it from them, but that is next level higher than the level where they at with the Young Miami spending that and what my scamming ass niggas at and all that trash. That's trash. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. It's just one level higher than the other. I put it on the balance scale just now. It's just one higher level than the other. Neo and his wives, his wives and girlfriends, whoever they are to them, they in a polygamy relationship, polygamy level, I give it to you. I'm not knocking it. They up here like everybody in the Miami video, the Trick Daddies and the Uncle Lukes, all them down there. That down there, there's a difference between polygyny, polygamy, pimping. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference between all of them. The pimping ain't no joke. You know what I'm saying? You guys you gotta know all the P's. You guys know all the P's. You gotta know all of them. The polygyny, the polygamy, the pimping, the pussy. You got to know all that. And then you gotta know that do mesh. But polygamy, Neo more on the urban, more on the Western society style when it come to it, but it's in moderation though. But I ain't gonna lie, it's a consolidated level on the far side from the vibes and the relationship and dating culture that goes on in the Young Miami video spin that. But my scamming ass niggas and they got this like a remix of a Players Club scene in the video with the Ronnie on there. She the lesbian. That's the Western society. That's the Western society. That's the Western society lesbians. They the Western society lesbians. You know what I'm saying? Just like they got the girls that go with the homosexual Western society, home baby daddy having jailhouse / penitentiary, perhaps waiting on somebody waiting on him having ass mentality and personality. You know what I'm saying? It's the way it's so bad. They got sons and daughters still homosexuals and lesbians. They got they churn, they born in this corrupted ass society that goes on with a lot, and a lot goes on with it, and they end up turning to be bisexuals, and then they got a group of people gonna say, oh, they bisexual, they got it from their dad and their mama, they just like y'all, that's why they all who they are. That's why they come out all backwards and sick-minded, and they come from, within their adolescence and out of their adolescence, perhaps, let's say before they're after it. And that's what that is in the U.S. In the U.S. Yup, in the U.S. I ain't even gonna lie to you, and this all this other stuff. That's why polygyny forbid homosexuality, lesbianism, bisexuality, transgenderism, all that prostitution, all that what my scamming ass niggas that spend that and whatever else, and all that unclean child pedophilia, especially like they do in Hollywood. All the stuff they did in Hollywood. Even with the Epstein and the Diddy situation, and Epstein that Diddy, they were one and the same. Epstein Diddy one and the same, and a lot of nasty stuff went down at the Michael Rubin all-white party. It was recently passed, and a lot of it was there. There was some nasty things going on there, and I'm not gonna lie, it's just other family orders of unclean male and unclean female sex devils. You know what they say, how they got the incubus and the succubus. They got all that. Those the type that when they have a victim, or let's say they got a catch. I'm gonna say a catch. I ain't gonna use the term victim. I'm gonna use the term catch. And they got a catch that they see laying down, and either it's the incubus, which is the male unclean entity, or the succubus is the unclean female entity. She the unclean female entity. She the one who collects semen from the male while he sleep. That's why it's not good to have wet dreams, because wet dreams don't come from the Most High. They come from the devils. They come from the devil. Yeah, wet dreams come from the devil. I don't care if it's somebody who was I don't care if it's a 26 show and he had a dream of Taylor Rooks, the reporter for NBA, the NBA reporter. I don't care if he had a dream of her. You know what I'm saying? Hey, he gonna get off, or he gonna be okay. But a wet dream is still not good to have, but that still don't count. If you really look at it, just because you had a wet dream, of like people have wet dreams of celebrity crushes, or wet dream of this certain person, or that's just like some unclean spirit that's trapped, or this person having an unclean dream, this damn child pedophile like Epstein having unclean wet dream, having a wet dream about these little bit of children, these little bit of white girls he was having sex with on Epstein Island, and he thinking it's count, but it don't. It don't. And I wouldn't be surprised Donald J. Trump was, he was there. I don't care. He was there. He was there. Yeah, he was there. You know what I'm saying? He was there. Ain't no doubt about that. You know what I'm saying? Though wet dream for them don't count. And the thing, and a lot of things with the Diddy situation, and a lot of people got affected. That's another thing. All the Diddy parties in urban settings. And a lot of people got infected, and that's how they ended up with the sexually transmitted diseases. They ended up with the venereal diseases. They ended up with the herpes. They ended up with AIDS. They ended up with the syphilis and the gonorrhea and the gonorrhea, and they ended up with the social disease. And they trapped in a VD house. You know what I'm saying? They using this bait. They being used as bait. And I ain't gonna lie, they still walking around with all that in them. You know what I'm saying? They still walking around with all that in them. And he even had a lot of people that was coming up in the 2010s, like that of Justin Bieber. Like he told Justin Bieber on national television, he knows better than to talk about the things he does with his big brother Puff on national television. Everybody is when him and Justin Bieber in front of that television screen, and they talking to the audience on that Jimmy Kimmel Live right then in California, in Los Angeles, California. And he infected Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber got all that. They did him in. They done him in. It's over for Justin Bieber. Usher another one. And I know Young Miami was caught up in the satanic sex rituals with Diddy himself. You know what I'm saying? That's why she had to learn a lot from him. She has, because that's all it beat. Is that what you see in the video correlates to activities like that of that. That's what that bound to be. That's what that bound to be, yup. It's bad enough people, they got those who are praising it and they think this was gonna pull them out of their misery. They glorifying the song. You know what I'm saying? They glorifying the song like it's glorifying the song, how they saying it in the English, broken English language. In the broken English language. How they say it in the black community in the broken English language, God. They praising it like the song is God. And they saying they pronouncing God wrong, is in the English language pronounced God, capital G-O-D, God. But they say God, lowercase G-A-W-D. Or capital G-A-W-D, but it's pronounced wrong. They saying God. They been praising the song like it's God. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't gonna lie, there is another level with that. That's a whole nother world there. I ain't gonna lie. Well, hey, yeah, your Miami, she gonna continue to do her little thing, and people like Trick Daddy, I wouldn't be surprised he got infected before out there. You know what I'm saying? He got infected. He probably not far from dying from lung cancer. Lung infection, I meant to say. They say lung infection. Colon cancer. Hookworm, pinworm, roundworms in his blood system. It ain't looking good. It's gonna be from one of them. That Western society way of living, that's not even way of living, that's culture living. That Western society, that culture living, that's another level. But I'm not gonna lie, I agree with Indy Irie, because Indy Irie is not lying. You know, Indy Irie, she got a cleaner perspective than that. But that's my intake on that, talking about polygamy and talking about things that went viral. And I ain't gonna lie, it's been another level, half the year gone, and then, you know, it get worse. And this video was done 2 months ago. That video was done 2 months ago, and then it resurfaced and went viral. That scamming ass nigga, that ain't the way to go. That scamming ass nigga, that they didn't got people prosecuting and put in jail just for stealing Birkin bags, Louis Vuitton, Chanel. It's just not. It ain't even necessary. It's not even called for, like, for real. That's what it takes for a song like to do that to people's head. I can tell you that them frequencies working in the thing that they ain't even get away with, and still got caught. But yeah, I want to give the word out on all 3 of my digital products. My ebooks called Wiser the Ways of the World Part 1 in Draft Digital, and Wiser the Ways of the World Part 2 and 3 in Rock the Con Kobo. You could click down into the description below and click on the link. You click on the link, and I got 3 ebooks in that order, and you can find Wiser the Ways of the World Part 1, Draft Digital, Part 2, Part 3, Rock the Con Kobo. Don't forget hit the like button. Don't forget hit the subscribe, hit the like button, comment, and share. And I'll be back with another upload. See you round about.